All right. Good afternoon. Taking us back to yesterday's video. The Twins suck. They're absolutely garbage. I actually tweeted out something saying, like I can't wait for the Twins to be the best stack on every slate, and then for whatever reason they just get 2 runs, and that's pretty much what happened. We got off the ground like we talked about yesterday, and that saved us. It was good because he was at a pitch limit and he did not look so hot in his start. Um, yeah, that's kind of it. You got anything to add about yesterday?
Yeah.
Terrible
So
slate.
we were before lock, we were in between going Twins, Royals, or O's Sox stacks and just game stacking in the two best environments. And we, of course, chose the wrong one. And the O's and Sox ended up exploding for what, 17 runs? So
19,
didn't
I
feel
think.
too hot. And then the Rockies got there at the end of the night against Chalk Snell a little bit. And then, CJ Cron hit two dongs. Happens. Uh, Other than that, only other takeaway was the Twins are just going to twin every time we play them. So,
They're just gonna steal the coin. Like I said, be the best, data
yep,
wise, be good, and then everyone sucks.
yep. And going in today's slate, it looks a little more cut and dry as far as like environments go. White Sox, Houston looks to be the best park environment, along with the Mets and Miami. But then there's a huge drop off between the San Diego, the Dodgers, and the Seattle games.
Yeah, I don't have anything wrong with that. So according to the data here, um, the stacks, top stacks, San Diego Padres, Houston, which as a White Sox fan, I hate that, but you got to play them. Dodgers and the Mariners. So the data says that the best leverage spot is the White Sox. Now, don't stack them just because, last night they won and they actually looked pretty good, but that can only go so far. And I'm already complaining about my team, even though we beat the defending champs. But mix in, so Javier is a right-handed pitcher, just mix in a couple lefty bats. You were saying Andrews, Benintendi. I know Moncada is a switch hitter, so that could
Mhm.
be beneficial to an extent. So yeah, I like those so far.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I would add Vaughn. If you didn't say Vaughn, he's got some
yeah,
good
no, Vaughn
matchup.
definitely.
Um, and then as far as the Houston side, I like Diaz, Bregman, Yordong, and then Dubon. Good matchups here. Facing Lynn, Bregman and Yordon both have pretty good history against Lynn as well. So a little BVP there. And then as far as ownership, it looks pretty, I mean, evenly distributed as it can be. Javier probably the highest, maybe 20%, 15%,
Right
maybe
now, right now he's at 40% ownership.
40.
So I'll read them off.
Yeah,
Just from order, Javier 40%, Robbie Ray 30%, Dustin May from the Dodgers 26%, um, Lazardo 26%. So, and obviously just pitchers, but yeah, Javier 40.
40. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I know. Wait, am I on Fanduel? I'm on DraftKings. I'm an idiot. All right, Fanduel.
I was about to say, there's no way those ownerships even make sense
I
because
did I did a refresh right before we started, and the ownership thing has like the tabs, and it just reset to. So yeah. So right now, who are we talking? Javier 19% projected.
okay, thank you. That's what I was thinking.
Jeez. Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind Javier. You were saying something earlier about
Lazardo.
strikeout percentages and all that. So I think Javier's gonna be the better option tonight.
Yeah,
Sad
I think
that's my
he's
team, but
safer, and especially to get the win after losing last night, you get the win points, hopefully.
yeah,
Javier.
definitely.
And then Ray's in a good spot. And what's his leverage score? Is he serving like -5 or 10?
Javier's leverage
No, Ray.
-4.
Yeah. He's about
-4.
an even play. He's fine. I like Lazardo the most, I think. I'm I might go there. I don't know if I need the salary. If I don't need the salary, I'll just play one of the Ray or Javier. So those
Yeah,
are the three top options for me. I got Javier about 6.5 Ks, Lynn at 5.6, Kelly in May about 5, and then drops off from there. And then
yeah,
Lazard
those are all
about
good.
2.
I really like Jesus, kind of like you were saying. A little cheaper option. You can get better bets, whatever you decide to get. Um, minus 2.4 leverage score. So that's something. If you don't want to play like Ray or Javier, you can. It's not a toss up for Lazardo, but I mean that's kind of a good play as well. So don't think you just have to play Javier, who's 10-1, or Robbie Ray 9-9. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I also think Lance Lynn is going to get demolished, sadly, but I would not play him at all.
Yeah. And as far as bats go, we went over some bats already in that first game. I would consider sprinkling some Miami bats. There's some good matchups there. I think Soler has a good matchup to hit a home run.
Right.
And I think starting with a Houston stack where you have Bregman and Jordan, but you then switch it up by going some of these like 8, 9 bats like Dubon or Diaz, who I think might bat 6, but that will differentiate your stack and give you the salary you need because Diaz is like 2-2 and Dubon's 2 flat. And then you can pay up for whatever your secondary stack you want it to be. I think it's going to be Miami. It could be a game stack. I'm trying to avoid those terrible ballparks that are cold in San Diego and LA and
Did
Seattle.
you see the Astros just posted their lineup? Did you see it at all yet or
No, read it off.
no? Pena, Bregman, Alvarez, Abreu, Tucker, Jolks, batting DH, never heard of them. Hensley, Myers, and Maldonado.
Okay, so literally no one has said it. So that's sick. We'll have to come back to the Houston bats, but they have some pieces there that you can pick off, and yeah, you can go to Tucker, Bregman, Jordan. Jordan was there, right? He wasn't like held out for some reason.
Yeah, Jordan's batting third.
Okay,
I want to see White Sox because they just posted theirs. Anderson, Robert, Benintendi, Eloy, Moncada, Sheets. I love Sheets. Yasmani, Colas, and Andrews. So Benintendi, like we talked about,
yeah,
um, Yohan, switch hitter. Yasmani's a switch hitter. Sheets is a lefty.
Andrews is a good shout too.
Andrews. I'm gonna keep buying into this White Sox stack, so I'm just gonna put my phone down and not look at them.
Yeah,
But
they're fine too.
yeah, I mean, just a couple lefty bats, and don't really stack them, but you can get Andrews cheaper. Sheets, I don't know what Sheets is at, but
He's
he
probably
should be
like
a little.
pretty cheap, 2.4, 2.5.
Yeah, so mix in a couple of those guys just as cheap bats, and then pay up for somebody better. I do think if I all right, let me ask you this: if you had to lock in, let's just say 3 batters tonight, any game, not just obviously the Astros, White Sox, 3 batters. Give me 3 batters.
Bregman,
You're gonna say all Astros.
Benintendi, and Robert probably.
Who was the last one?
Robert.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, I agree with those. Kind of like you were just saying earlier, best environment. They're in a dome. You were saying something earlier that in San Diego, even though they're still the top stack, which I agree with because they're facing Kyle Freeland, who has been free literally even last season. I just remember anytime he would pitch, it was just, oh, yeah, like free home runs or
Yeah,
like just free money right there, which I still agree with. But, hold on, let me pull up the stacks again. Like, so the stack score for the Padres is 13.3, and then right underneath it's pretty close, 11.8 to Houston, and then 11.4 to the Dodgers. So I mean, little bit of leverage there, not much, but that's something to kind of consider because no matter what contest you're playing, if people know how to play MLB DFS, they're going to probably stack. You're going to see many Padres stacks. So just something to keep in mind. So
Yeah, I think with the pricing, and you're gonna have to pay for studs on San Diego and Houston, you might have to pick one. And I would probably lean Houston. And then
mhm.
the Dodgers are popping more than I thought they would, especially in how bad the environment's going to be. So I might have to redig into that, but I'm still going to prioritize those cheaper bats on the Sox and Miami.
Yeah, no, I agree. Something to kind of note about on the Dodgers, I was kind of looking at sneaky batters, and what I mean by that is guys that should be a little lower owned. Miguel Vargas and I believe his name is Jake Outman. So I played after hours yesterday and min cash just kind of for fun. Outman hit a home run, 2-run home run, and that kind of saved my night, I guess. I didn't do I lost total like $3 on the whole slate, but that kind of helped me. So Outman is projected right now at 3%, and Miguel Vargas is projected for 7%. Um, that's something to kind of look into if you want to try to be a little different and maybe like let's just say the Astros are your main stack. You want a secondary stack, mix in those guys, and they're pretty cheap as well. So
Yeah.
if you definitely want to be a little different, have those guys in. And with it being such kind of like a smaller slate today than it was yesterday, you're gonna have a lot of the same they're going to have a lot of the same batters and pitchers as everybody else. So getting a little different with that might not be the worst thing in the world, but just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and I'll point out the Mariners too here. They usually have some cheap bats that you can fit in the infield, like shortstop, second base, like Crawford. He's probably hitting like ninth, eighth, ninth.
You know who popped up as a good value bet? Speaking
Who?
of the Mariners, I'll give you a hint. Reds legend.
Suarez.
Yep. He popped up pretty good. I kind of wrote it in order. He's kind of like mid to bottom, but he's not a bad play, I don't think. But he's someone that definitely you'll definitely be different if you have him in.
So if you're gonna rank your top three stacks, what you going with to wrap up?
I gotta go with you. Number one, I'm gonna go Houston. Two, I'm gonna go Padres. It's kind of it's kind of close for me between the Dodgers and Mariners, but I'm gonna have to kind of go with Dodgers.
Okay.
And that's like a close third. It's kind of almost even with those two, but I think overall the Dodgers will be a little better.
Yeah. So I'll read off my three. I'll go Houston as well, just to reiterate the top stack, at least the power bats, and make sure I think Bregman and Jordan are one of the two is hitting 1 yard today. Um, and then I'll go since you skipped over the Mariners, I'll throw them in there. Uh, and then I'll go the Sox against Javier, just get a little different.
Yeah. Something to keep in mind about the Mariners as well. Minus 1.4% leverage in the data that we have here. 11.1 stack score, and then right above them is a Dodger. So that's kind of why I was saying it was a little close that wise. And I also think a lot of people are gonna, stack the Padres first, and then maybe have a secondary stack as you know the Dodgers or Astros, maybe mixing a couple other bats from the Mets or something like that. So that's kind of why I like Seattle a little bit, but I'm not going to prioritize them. So
Have you run any optimals yet? I haven't.
Oh, absolutely not.
I might
Um,
run some real quick just to see what's popping, let the people know.
I want to see if there's um, any starting lineups that have come out. I haven't seen anything recently.
Yeah, it's pushing San Diego, Soto, Bogarts, Cruz, and then it's pushing some of those Seattle infield bats, Wong and Raleigh popped.
Mhm.
Bregman, Jordan, who we've been on, and then it's got Segura at the bottom, 2.3. It's pretty cheap for him. And then it's got
Yeah,
Ray.
I kind of wrote him down as well, but nothing to really prioritize. But um, got any last thoughts? Any tips for tonight's slate? You got anything?
No, it's a pretty crappy hitting slate. Just take your shots on some stacks you like and go from there. Pitching's also pretty in the mud. All those pitchers are sitting around 5, 6 Ks. Nothing, no one's standing out like 8.5 Ks like Cole yesterday. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to. Like I said, I alluded to it when we first started this. White Sox have the best leverage stack score, but only do the guys that we suggested, just lefties against Javier and stuff, and kind of like what we were saying with starting Javier. You know, the White Sox won last night, and they're in Houston, so if you play, if you're playing Javier, don't throw White Sox in unless you're kind of crazy for that. I don't know. I
I'd only
wouldn't.
recommend like a one-off power bat. That's the only case I usually pitch and play against my pitcher.
Right. Yeah. I
We'll
think we're
see.
all good.
Yeah.
All right. Good
All
luck
right. We'll
tonight.
see y'all back here. Are we going tomorrow or are we just gonna go Monday?